Everyone. Good to see everyone. Good to see everyone. What's cracking? Hey, Evie, how are you?
Hi, I'm good. Thank you for having me.
No, it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. I've, it's funny. Like I was looking back on the first time like you ever came into my chat. It was probably like 3 or 4 months ago now, which is wild, right?
Yeah,
And then like it was literally just metal music and just me just jamming, just like
yeah.
smashing in my head. Oh, I love it, and that's sort of where I connected with you the most because metal music is a massive part of my life, and like every day is ruled by a playlist. You know what I mean? Like there's no day where I'm not listening to it, and it's one of my favorite things in the world. And I think that's sort of why we kept in touch. We've talked, and I watch your stream, and you watch mine. So that's sort of where we started. In saying that, I mean, for those who don't know you in my community, or for those who don't know you in the chat, do you want to give yourself a little bit of an introduction? Let everyone know who you are, where you're from, and why you started streaming.
Yeah, so I'm Evie. So not Evie, but Evie.
Yeah, look, this is
'Cause
Australian accent for you.
people keep calling me a Pokemon, but it's Evie. I'm from Belgium. I stream on Twitch. I do music shows. I mostly support local bands, so I have a Wednesday show where I promote 10 local bands with less than 5k on Spotify,
Mhm,
all for free. And then on Friday, I do Metal Release Fridays for small bands.
mhm.
I started streaming because I thought it was fun. It was a joke. Oh, the start of my streaming career was a joke. I started off with gaming, not with music. And it was a joke. I was in a community and they kept bugging me like, "Oh, you have to stream. It's going to be so much fun." And they just sent me a cheap ass webcam. They sent me cheap ass headphones and they said, "Here's the date that you are going to start streaming." So it kind of exploded and I kept doing it.
Mhm.
And then throughout the time I started doing music streams and I suck at gaming, so I decided to just go full-time music streaming.
That's all right. I mean, with the gaming and stuff, what games did you used to play? Were you really into other things, or what were you thinking?
I usually played like horror games or storyline games.
Hmm.
Something that you don't have to be pro gamer. I hate shooters,
Yeah.
not because of the games, but because I suck too much at it.
Yeah.
So, I usually played like the chill games. Usually, I think Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice is my
Oh, yeah.
favorite game to play. I still play it like a lot.
Yeah, I was watching someone play that the other day. I'd never seen it before. I think it was like probably 2 days ago, and I was watching one of my friends, Peaceful, play it, and yeah, I watched for about 2 hours, and because obviously you know me, I'm a shooter kind of person, and I was
Yeah.
watching this game, and I'm like, it's so slow, like, do you know what I mean? Like I just to what I'm used to, I'm just like, this is like the first time I ever played Minecraft. Like when I first started playing Minecraft, I'm like, I'm bored. What am I supposed to do? Like I had to like literally like sit there and make myself play it in order to like finally enjoy it, to try to figure out what was going on, because I was like, I don't know, like.
Yeah, it's not for me either. Minecraft and stuff like that is not for
No.
me either.
Well, that's all right though, because Twitch is one of those places where you can literally just do anything. Like, it doesn't. I always tell people in my communities, like, we don't always have to play a game. Like I've done streams where I've just chatted for like 12 hours. Like I don't understand. Look, I'm a different breed when it comes to that kind of stuff for some unknown reason, but it's still like, if it's entertaining at 2 hours in, and it's still just as entertaining at 10 hours in, then we're doing something right here. Like, it's good fun. It's as long as you're having fun with your friends and that. Like I always say, like that it's quality over quantity when it comes to the people in the community too. Because like I don't care like about having a community of millions. Like I'd rather just my 10 best friends in here. Do you know what I mean? Like just chatting and
Yeah.
having a good time. Um, when you first started doing it, and that like, was it a real learning process for you? Had you been on Twitch before, or had you looked into that kind of stuff prior, or?
Oh, I am a boomer when it comes to technology
Oh yeah.
and computers and stuff like that. I learned, like, it's funny to say that because I'm a technician for CNC machines. So I can do that, but like installing something on my PC is a disaster.
Yeah.
Um, I knew Twitch because I was in a community from Matt Horn. He used to be
Mhm.
the drummer for a band called The Word Life, so that's the reason why I started making Twitch in the first place.
Right.
I was just bored home. He told us on Instagram that he was streaming on Twitch, and I just wanted to check in because I hadn't seen him for a while. So I just made a page and I just started chatting in his stream, and I had no idea. It took me like 4 or 5 months to realize that Discord was a platform and app to like connect with people. I had no idea.
So
Like
true.
I didn't have a computer before I joined that stream. I bought my computer for my first stream.
Hmm.
So I didn't have a computer. I was just on my phone watching Twitch. Um, I think it took me like 2 or 3 months to realize what subbing was and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
I was lucky that I had a support system of people that already streamed. Like, before I started streaming, I had one of my friends that helped me set up my OBS, my overlays, how to do it, how to make alerts. So I was very lucky that I didn't have to figure any of that out myself.
Mm. I think that was half the fun. Just trying to figure it all out, you know. Like I spent hours doing that kind of stuff though, like just like trying to
I
figure it
still
out what
do.
to do. Yeah, there's so much stuff to learn with these programs. Like you can watch as many YouTube videos as possible to try and learn it all, but really you don't learn it unless you do it yourself. You know what I mean? Like you kind of like it's practice makes perfect sort of situation. And I'm still like I'll still click on things in OBS and be like, I didn't even know this button existed, and I'll press on it and something else will happen. I'll be like, what the fuck did I just do? Like you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, oh no, I messed it up again.
One of my mods, he does all my tech stuff. So he does all the commands and stuff like that. And he's like, do not touch anything if you don't know what it's for. Don't touch it. You will break it.
Yeah. Love that. Love that. Oh my god. So who is Day Night Duo and Jeffrey? Where
Day and Night Duo, it's Mel and Cass. So
Mhm.
they are my friends. They live in the US. Mel is in a band. Silas and shit. Sorry, Mel. I can't get on the name of the other band. It's bad. Sorry, I'm just woke up. My brain is still fried.
That's all right.
But we feature them on oh, Promoted. I'm sorry. I'm sorry it took me a while. Promoted, by the way, had one of the funniest video clips I ever featured on my channel.
Yeah.
Also Mel drummed for a tour for a band, for my favorite band, for A Virtue.
Mhm.
So we kind of connected on a few levels there, and they stream on Twitch as well. They do very funny co-op streams together.
Oh, perfect.
And Jeffrey is one of my mods. He
That's
is
all
one
right.
of my slaves. He has to work for me day and night and does everything I ask.
Does he get paid?
Legit. No, he does not. He
Just
does
gets
not.
just gets
I do
paid in
take my
love.
mods, yeah. I do take my mods out for dinner on Christmas and give
Yeah.
them presents and stuff. So I am not horrible to my mods, but I don't make money myself from Twitch. So I told them, if I make money, you will make money. If I don't make money, you don't make money. And they
Yeah.
agreed on it. So
Oh, that makes sense. I mean, like when you first start out and you don't know you don't know the application of modding. Like a lot of people that first start out, they have, say, 100, 200 followers to begin with, and they're like, I'm making you mod. I'm like, please don't. Like, because like when I first started, my mates were my mods, right? And we didn't realize that kind of responsibility that would be needed when it grew, because neither of us thought that, or none of us really thought that we would grow on Twitch. We just thought we'll just play video games poorly until someone comes and says hello to us. And like, we just thought that's where we start, and where we finish, who knows, right? So like, we started doing that, and one of my mates who I made mod, who was like my first follower and my first subscriber, and now we've got like nearly 3,000 followers. And he comes in, he's like, I don't know what's going on. Like every single time. He's like, well,
yeah.
you wanted this. But
I have to say, I'm very lucky. Both my mods live in Belgium, but that wasn't like a criteria. That was a coincidence. But Ninja, my first mod, I didn't know him on beforehand. He just walked into my stream one day, and he offered like, "Yo, if you want, I can help you out with some tech stuff." And like after a week of him being on my channel, he became my mod, and I have to say, I I cannot stream one stream without him. Like everybody in my chat knows who he is. Everybody knows like everything I ask, like noise of like sound level, stuff like that. it's all on him. He is responsible for that. And
Yeah.
then he updates all my commands every time I stream. Like he adds the lineup of the people that get in, and I do interviews like for a magazine with big artists, so I cannot watch my chat when I'm interviewing someone.
Mm-hmm.
So then they just regulate the chat and they entertain people and they make sure people are welcome and know what's going on. And then my other mod, Jeffrey, he joined us last summer. He was just like, yo, if you ever need help with anything, I love music, I love what you are doing, and I have zero experience in modding, but I still want to help out. So we said you don't have to have the skills if you have the like engagement and you want to do it. We are happy to teach you. And now he grew into a full mod, so that's nice.
That's awesome. Yeah, no, I think mods are like if you having good mods makes life so much easier. Like
Oh yeah.
so much easier, especially when you have like say you have like big raids or trolls or whatever it might be. It's always they're basically like family. Like I always say with my streaming and my community, it is a community. It's like I can't stream and put all this together if no one comes and says hello. Like I can't stream and put all this together if no one comes in and helps me with mods, and if the VIPs aren't here every day, and whatever it might be. Like it's not we are just people talking to a camera, without the people watching. That's all it is. And like as much as I enjoy doing this regardless of having one follower or one viewer or 100. It doesn't matter. The point of it is that we are more than grateful for the people that actually spend their time, their free time, coming to say hello. They don't have to do that, but they do because they enjoy it, and they're now our family. It's awesome. It's so
Yeah,
good.
I agree on that. I say that every stream myself as well. Like you're just a person. You are just the face of a show, but the show isn't a show without anyone being there.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. Now, when you say music streaming, so what does it entail? Like you said, you do interviews and stuff. What other parts of that does it entail? Like, is you just playing tunes, or are you interviewing other people? Like, how does it work?
I never just play tunes. Like all my shows are completely worked out, so you cannot come into my stream and ask for requests.
Mm-hmm.
That's not something I do. On Wednesday, I used to pick the bands myself, but now the demand of the requests of features are so enormous. Like I'm fully booked for the next 2 months,
Oh wow.
and I play 10 bands every Wednesday. So I think I have like 100 bands lined up already. So what I do is first of all I prep my banners, then I do biography. So I give bands a lot of shit if they don't have a biography on their Spotify because it's a pain in the ass.
Yeah, I've seen you post about that actually.
So I prep their biography, I write it out, I check how many listeners they have on Spotify, then I promote it, and then what we do is on Spotify, I just make sure that they are listed up. I give an introduction about the band. If the band wants to share something special about them or do some promotion in my chat, they are allowed to do that. And then we play 2 songs. If the bands are in chat, they can choose the songs. If not, I just go randomly. Usually I go with the last release and then the most played song. And we just listen to them. And it goes very wide. It goes from pop punk till brutal deathcore, so we listen to everything. And
Yeah.
then on Fridays, I just scroll through the releases the entire week, and all the releases that seem interesting, I just put them on the list. And I never listen to any of the songs on beforehand because it influences the reaction.
Mm-hmm.
So I just go through the video, like quick caps of the video, how it looks like, if it's not too shabby. And then I go to their socials and I have a look through their socials how it looks. And if it talks to me, I just add it to the list. And then it's the same. I add the biography, I tag the bands, give a little introduction about them, and then we find out the release together. And I have a lot of people actually waiting for releases, like listening to releases until I put them on the stream so we can find it out together.
Oh wow.
And then we just react to it. I don't know shit about music, but I know if I like something or not.
Yeah, no, that's all music is, right? It's different to every single person. Like, you listen to one song one way and someone else listens to the same song and they get a completely different interpretation of it. If you've ever watched if you go on YouTube and you watch first reactions to music for people who don't understand the genres. So like it's interesting to see like the different reactions and what they get out of it, the messages they get out of the lyrics and stuff, and it's always different. And it's sometimes it's even more different from the artist to the listener. So like the artist had a vision and was writing something, to begin with, and someone listens to it and they get a completely different interpretation of it. And then the artist listens back and they're like, I didn't see that at all. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, so it's actually, music is one of those gifts that for everyone really, because it's something that can get you through anything, and at the same time, it's also I don't know how you wait to listen to songs. Like that would drive me insane. Like I am the kind of person that if I see a song come out, within 2 seconds of it dropping, I'm listening to it. I
It's
wish I could do
even
that.
worse. I have a bunch of friends in bands. Like I made so many band friends, and they all want to send me like their songs before they release, or their demos, or their project that they are working on.
Yeah.
And I always have to reply like, dude, I want to listen so bad, but you can either choose. I can either feature it on my channel and not listen right now, or I can tell you what I think about it, listen right now, but not feature it, because if I already know how it's going to be, it will influence the reaction on the channel, and it ruins the purpose of what we are doing. So it's a pain, because then I have the file sitting in my inbox ready to be played and I cannot press play.
Oh, that's brutal. Yeah, no, I wish I could. I wish I had the capacity to do that. Sometimes I do, but like that's a skill in itself. It's like with a new video game. Like if a new video game comes out, I actually have control when it comes to that, because I'm like, I don't want to spend $80 on this game that I might play once and hate. I'd rather let everybody else test it, watch other people play it, test out the bugs, as long as there's no like story spoilers, and then just buy it in like a month's time when it goes on sale. Because I'm just like, paying out much money for a game and then just not liking it is the worst feeling. But it's different with music, because I mean, like, with Spotify nowadays, you don't need to buy albums anymore. You just dial up that subscription and off you go. Whereas, back in the day when we didn't have Spotify, I used to just buy the CD. And if you bought it was a $30 CD, and if you bought the $30 CD and you liked one song, it's like, well, that seemed like a waste.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or in the LimeWire days, or you could still illegally download the album.
Yeah. Well, I don't even remember. Oh, LimeWire was a wild fucking time, wasn't it?
Had to wait 24 hours to download the song.
Yeah. People don't know what dial-up internet is.
To then find out that there's a bug in the song, or that they put some advertisement through the song, to restart and download it again.
Yeah, or like if you downloaded a movie and it was like a handycam movie, like someone's filming at the back of the movie theater, like the movie.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh, dude, like it's funny. I think for our generation, we have so much patience because of the amount of things we had to wait for. Whereas now this day and age, no one has to wait for anything anymore. It's instant. It's like, get in your phone, press a button, it's there. Whereas we wanted something, we'd have to wait a day for it to download and hope that no one picked up the phone and broke the internet line. It's wild, right?
Like that last 2%, and then internet gone, or the computer fails, or something like that.
File corruption, that kind of stuff,
Or to wait like half a minute for a website to open.
Oh yeah. Or a photo to load. Yeah. 100%,
yeah, exactly.
100%. Look, when it comes to the music scene and everything, where did it begin for you? When you were a kid, or when you got older? When did you start listening to metal, and when did you realize how much you loved it?
I think I was about 12. it started innocent. Like I think the first real alternative sounds that I listened to were like Tokyo Hotel, um, Metro Station, stuff like that. But I started listening to bands like Korn and Fintroll, and that was the first things that I liked.
Yep.
And then I found out my emo phase, so I started listening to Blast the Fall, Alisana, Scary Kids, Scaring Kids, stuff like that, and then I just got sold. Early Bring Me the Horizon days.
Yeah. That's
That was
beautiful.
amazing. So that's when I started. I think I was like 12 or something.
Mm-hmm.
And I really went from like the normal girl to like emo phase real quick.
Yeah.
And my parents absolutely hated it. I was the one with like the checkered skinny jeans and then three belts on top of it and the gloves and
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that. My parents always kept me in tone, like no facial piercings, no weird hair colors, stuff like that. But
Just a proper scene kid.
and I think I was about 13 when I went to my first festival, my first 4-day festival. We have a big festival here in Belgium called Huspop, and my uncle always goes with my cousin. So I was 13 listening to all these bands. Bring Me the Horizon was on there. Bullet for My Valentine, Trivium, A Day to Remember. So all bands that I really want to see. Anti-Flag, one of the best things
So
ever.
good.
And I hated going to school. My parents said, if you have good marks on the end of the school year, you can go. So that was like the stimulus to go there. So I was like 13, going to my first festival. I came home and I was literally sleeping on the sidewalks in front of my house because I was dead tired when I got back.
Just couldn't stop.
Yeah, so that's when it actually started. The scene in Belgium isn't big. Like it used to be better. We had like this underground hardcore scene with local bands, shows, but that all got away over the years. So like I think in between my 16 and 24, there was like a gap of no scene, no community, nothing. So also like for us, if a American band or something comes here, you can ask every American band that's been in Belgium or in Europe. They are always welcomed very openly. People are super hyped because we barely have any shows here.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very nice to get that. I think the scene is picking up again, especially here in Belgium. There's a lot of bands coming out again, a lot of great music. And I feel like it's picking up again, but it has been a huge gap because I don't know, when the emo phase faded out, the scene faded out with it around here.
Yeah, I understand that. I mean, Australia is sort of like isolated in that regard, but I mean, we have a lot of metal bands here. Like, it's surprising the amount of like metal we get from Australia, and there's a lot of really big bands now too. Like, a lot of them started playing, halls, like school halls. And and stuff like that. Like my favorite band, Parkway Drive, like they literally started at a school hall, and I was there. Like I remember it. It was great. It was just our thing that we saw, and it was amazing. And all of a sudden they're doing stadiums. Like, do you know what I mean? Like it's watching a band progress like that and change their sound as well. Like you look at stuff like Bring Me the Horizon. Early Bring Me the Horizon is nothing like what they're doing now, right? They've just basically gone around in a circle and back again and over the top, and they're all over the place. But I think what it is that each person in the band who's writing the music or who's contributing to the music, every single time they have a life experience that changes it, the music changes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's with the production value too. Like you start out, you have more money to do stuff, then all of a sudden the quality goes up. So like with Parkway, they started and it was just like real sort of garagey kind of like, smashing pans together kind of music. And it was just like, but it was great. And all of a sudden it is like a well-oiled machine, like night and day in comparison. And it's watching your favorite bands like start from there and go to here. Like that's the most amazing experience. Finding a band halfway through that transition I just think it's not as fulfilling as starting from the bottom and working your way all the way up with them. You know what I mean? You're like, I
Oh
remember when
yeah,
these guys started. You know, it's great.
it's the same. We see it a lot in my community because I featured over 700 local bands with less than 5K on Spotify.
Wow.
So we see it happen, even if it's like a band that starts with 5 monthly listeners and I feature them, and like 2 months after, they are like doubled, they are like 100 or 200 monthly listeners. Even that small change already is so huge to like be part of that and to
Yeah.
find that out. And like it's the same, the more that I grow, the more that people value being featured or having me talking about their bands. I am helping a band right now, of Virtue. They have a song, they want 1 million streams till their next release.
Mm-hmm.
So their manager just asked me like, can you help us out? And I started posting it, and their numbers went up with like 10,000 listeners, which
Oh
is
wow.
insane. So people are sharing it, I share it, other people share it again because I'm sharing it, and it's nice to have that kind of impact on people and on bands and on music that it's growing because I've been doing music streams, like full-time music streams, since August.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm still growing into it. So it's very nice to be able to do all that.
Yeah, 100%. And you mean you need the time to build up that base too. Like when it comes to anything, even if it's a gaming platform or if it's a gaming stream or it's a music stream or whatever it might be, people need to know it's going to take time to build up
Mhm.
that base of people. Like you've got to find them first. You can't just expect it to happen overnight. But it's also nice to see like. If you watch your other friends on Twitch or if you watch other people, like where they start and where they end up, and that's like one of the nicest things you can see. You know what I mean? It's really fulfilling for everyone to watch.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. Um, I remember when I was younger, and the first I had this compilation CD. Was one of the first CDs I ever bought for metal, and it had like Slipknot and Metallica and stuff like that, and all real mainstream kind of stuff. And that's where I started. Like I started listening to Linkin Park and stuff. It was a little bit of a different start for me, but as you as all metalheads can understand, it's never heavy enough. I think that's the number one rule. So you start here, then it gets heavier and heavier and heavier, and all of a sudden you're listening to grindcore, and you're like, "Well, how did I get here?" Every single time. So when it comes to big artists, like at the moment, like have we got a top five? I know that's very difficult to do, but like,
Oh.
have we got a top five? And let's dive into that a little bit and see where you're at, because I know it can change almost weekly. Like I'm aware of this.
I'm scared to give my top five for the only reason that I have so many band friends that will be so offended if I don't name them.
Well, let's say this could
Okay.
be the most clickbait you like ever. Let's do it.
Okay, my top five, starting with five. Let me think. I will start with one because it's easier to go that way.
Mm-hmm.
My top band, my number one band, is Of Virtue.
Mm-hmm.
It's a band from Michigan. They play metalcore. It's not that heavy. They don't scream a lot or anything, but they are very solid. They are releasing new music next month, and they have about 40K monthly on Spotify. So they are like not a very small band. They toured all over the world,
Mm-hmm.
but they are not like a huge band either yet.
Okay.
I think my second favorite band is a very small local band, a Belgian band called Secondhand Saints.
Mm-hmm.
These dudes changed my opinion on Belgian metal scene.
Okay.
Before I started, I had the opinion we are not going to play Belgian bands because they suck and the Belgian metal scene is just dog shit. So they released their very first song, and I had a sponsored message on my Facebook feed, and I was like, this is Belgian, this is a first release, let's just give it a chance. So I played them, and they are insane. They released their last song in December, and it's still my number one most played song on Spotify. It's
Awesome.
insane. It's so good. I never been more hyped about anything, I guess. Then my third is a big band called The Word Alive.
Mm-hmm.
I love The Word Alive. They are
Great
an
band.
American band. They change a lot. Their style changes a lot. If you go through album to album, completely different styles every single album.
Yeah,
Amazing.
I agree.
It's the only band I have a bunch of tattoos of as well. So I really dig them. Then number four, ooh, it's getting harder to pick. I think if I go all-time favorite bands, I would go with Alesana. It's like the best emo band. Every single song they play is like a story they tell. It's like listening to a theater show. It's amazing.
That's good shit.
And number five would be, oof, hard one. Um, I think I would go with Silverstein, all-time favorite. I love them. They are one of the first bands I listened to when I was 12 years old. I recently interviewed Shane, the vocalist of that band,
Okay.
for the magazine I work for, and he was the most down-to-earth, sweetest person in the world. He has 2 million monthly listeners, and he still acts like he's just the man next door, which was amazing.
That's awesome. Wow, it's like that's a really diverse list though. Like, I mean, yes, it's a lot of metalcore, but at the same time, you know, we can tell where it's going. You know what I mean? Like, I find some people they'll jump from here to here to here to here, but like, you know, you like what you like. You know what I mean? Like, you can't change that. I mean, it changes over time. You know, depending on your life and where you're at too. But that's what music's all about. That's why I love it.
It also changes when I meet people. Like most of the people in my top five are people that I actually met in real life and I have a connection with. Like if you would have asked me years ago, number one would have been Falling in Reverse.
Mm-hmm.
But I met Ronnie and I did not like him. He was not a nice person.
Really?
And I just immediately started to dislike their music just because I had that bad connection there.
Mm-hmm.
So it does change. Like 4 out of the 5 bands on my on my top 5 list are bands that I actually met. Like of Virtue, they are one of my closest friends. They are like family to me. Like I talk to them all the time. I talk to their manager every day. He helps me out with my stream. I help him out with stuff. So I'm more a person that loves the connection there. And the music, I love the music more when I have that personal connection as well.
Yeah, I totally get that. I mean, from someone who doesn't really like, I don't talk to people in bands much. It's a little bit different. Like my dad is a musician, right? And he has a band, but it's totally different. Like they play 60s music. Like it's a completely different thing. But like from a young age, music was very much part of my life, and I found all these other avenues because like it's not like he listens to heavy metal, right? So I didn't get it from him, but. So I've been around bands, but I've never actually been around the bands that you're talking about. Like when it comes to metal bands, like I've been to gigs, like I've been to a lot of gigs, been in a lot of mosh pits, had a lot of problems and injuries, but it's all part of the love, and my love for metal comes from just being like the feeling of being at a gig. That feeling you get in your soul when you're like standing there in the crowd. That's why I love it so much, because you don't get that from like a pop gig. It's not the same thing. It's all about the production for them. For us, it's about the feeling of the music when it starts. That's better than anything. Like it's an endorphin rush to the brain. Like when you're standing there and the lights come down and the kick starts, the double kick starts. It's nothing better than that feeling. Like I know every single person agrees.
I have to say, you can ask people that went to a gig with me. I just turn into this alter ego Evie. I go fully bananas. Like I'm the person that starts the mosh pits, that jumps in crowds and stage dives and shit like that. Like I always go like completely bananas, especially if it's a band that I love.
Oh yeah.
So it's like a completely different thing. I can be like very mellow and calm like 5 minutes before it starts, and then when the first note hits, I just go full bananas.
100%. I'm the same. I can't get in that mosh pit fast enough. If there's a song that I love and it starts, I'm like, see ya. Like we have to,
Bye.
whenever I go with my mates, we have to set a rally point. So we set a rally
Yeah,
point straight
same.
away. As we walk in, we're like, that's it there. Like that's the rally point. And so if anyone gets lost at the end of the gig, that's where we meet, right? The amount of times that we've had problems with that at the end, like where I get there and I'm like, where is everyone? Or someone gets there and goes, where's Adam? It's like the first place we always check is the medical tent because when it comes to those gigs, like 90% of the time you're fine, right? 90% of the time you're fine, but like it is, if you're in the mosh pit and you're around people in the dark flinging their fists around, some shit happens. Everybody picks each other up, which is what we love about the metal scene. But,
Yeah.
there is some injuries that can be sustained, in regards to that. What was your worst injury? That's the question.
I had a mosh pit with like 4 people, like a very small friend mosh pit. It was like a funny joke. And I got pushed and there was like a can on the floor and I tripped over the can and I broke my wrist on 3 spots.
Oh shit. Oh wow.
So
That's a good
that
one.
was the worst one.
Yeah.
And also, I had my appendix taken out the first time I went to Hraspop, like 2 weeks before that. So I still had stitches all over my belly and shit like that. Like I was not allowed to go there, but I was like, fuck that shit. I am going anyway. And
Won't
my
be
mom said,
stopped.
okay, but you have to be calm and don't do anything. And then I remember I was a huge fan of Bullet for My Valentine, and my favorite song was Waking the Demon.
Yeah.
And they started playing Waking the Demon, and this huge pit started like right where I was standing. And I was like, fuck that shit, I'm going in there. And then after that, like half of my stitches ripped open, so I had to go to the medical tent to like get that fixed.
Yeah. Wow.
So yeah.
I've broken so many bones. But it's always fingers and toes for me. Like the amount of times someone's kicked me in my toe or stepped on it, or someone's passing by and like swing kicks and then he kicks in the hand, or the nose. I have broken my nose twice already, like just from people smashing their heads into my face. And like, this is the thing, right? You look out for yourself as much as you can when you're in the mosh pit, but sometimes we've had a few drinks too. So like, if you're in there and you've had a few and you're not quite like alert enough, but you're loving it and you're just sweating it out, you don't notice until the pain kicks in that you've done something half the time. Like I remember one time we were in, I believe it was Hatebreed, at a mosh pit for Hatebreed, and it was in the dark on asphalt. So it was like, it was a bad idea to begin with. But Sydney and Australia in general, their gigs are fences and paddocks, basically. But there was a whole bunch of asphalt down the bottom, and people were just smashing their heads in like on the asphalt. Like it was, and it was like right on like evening time, like the sun had just gone down and the medical staff already had their hands full with other things, and people were just like falling left, right, and center. It was nuts. Like I'm pretty sure the people who organized that got in a lot of trouble because just the way they set it up. But I had someone with a steel cap shoe kick me in the toe.
Oh
right?
shit.
And I felt like it was like a balloon popping when they kicked me in the big toe, and I just felt my toe just explode in my shoe. And like the later on, because I kept going, because I was like, well, Hatebreed was on, and then Parkway Drive was on after Hatebreed. So I was like, I'm not going anywhere. Like I could feel it, like the blood and everything. I'm like, I'm not. That's fine. And they had the standard volleys on, right? And then when we got back to the car, I couldn't get my shoe off. Right?
Oh shit.
And it was like really bad. And I was like, this is really starting to hurt because the adrenaline's like coming down and you've just been running on it for the last 2 hours. So it's just like, okay. So we went to the hospital and they cut my shoe off with scissors and everything, my sock. And it was just a mess. Like it was just like completely split right down the middle. Like just,
Oh, shit.
it was bad. But I tell you what though, I'll never forget that gig because it was a great gig regardless. But the memory that sticks with me when that happens, that makes me remember it forever. And that kind of like, it's not that bad. You got to take a positive out of it, right?
That's true. I have to say, being a girl, people go easier on you. I noticed
Mm,
that, especially like at smaller gigs. You can
yeah.
feel that people are holding back. And I'm like, you don't have to hold back. Like, I choose to be in there, so I can take a punch. Like, it's my
Yeah.
choice to be in there. And I have a lot of people like coming after, like, fuck, you are bananas, and can we heat you through the venue?
I think
I'm like, yeah, sure.
yeah, I think the problem with that is obviously is that, you know, there's a lot of respect, I think, in the scene. Like you know, I've never met someone at a metal gig that was like trying to hurt others. Like
Yeah.
I've never come across someone who was like, I'm here to break people in half. Like we're all here to have fun, we're all here to have a good time. Never seen someone go under and not be picked up. Like it's like that. So when you say, you know, because you're a girl, like people, I think people are just scared they don't want to hurt anyone, and they also don't want to upset anyone. Do you know what I mean? So like some guy hits me full, and then you know, I say I go with a girlfriend, and they go to do the same. It's like they always hold back because it's just like natural instinct. Like it's not. I don't think it's like. You know, it's like, he's not like, oh no, you know, I don't get trouble. No, it's more just like respect. I think more than
Yeah.
anything. Yeah, yeah. So what when you talk gigs and stuff, what was the gig that did it for you? Like what was the gig that, if I said what, you know, a gig that put memories in your head forever, what was the one, like straight away?
The very first one I remember is like I think I'll have to go with Falling in Reverse. Not
Hmm.
because the shit experience with Ronnie, but the first time I went to see them was in the Netherlands, and me and my ex-husband were pretty close to the stage, and at the end of the gig, the drummer threw in the drumsticks,
Oh
signed
yeah.
drumsticks, into the crowd. But my ex, he's like 2 meters, and he just did this, and he grabbed that stick, and just 20 people just jumped and threw him on the floor trying to steal the fucking drumsticks. I was like, dude, what is happening? So it
Yeah.
wasn't exactly for the music that I remembered, but it was more for that experience. That was very funny. And even afterwards, when we were leaving the venue, people were still like coming up and like asking to get the stick and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Funny thing is, I don't have it anymore. I gave it away.
After all that, the blood, sweat, and tears, and it's gone.
Yeah. I had a girl in the US that I'm friends with that is a huge fan of Falling in Reverse. And like if I say huge, I mean like I think
Obsessed.
one of their big, yeah. So
Hmm.
I just shipped it to her because I didn't put that value into it that she would. So
Yeah, that's
um
understandable.
and I think another one is when I saw my boys from a virtual live. There was like it was in the Netherlands as well. We drove 4 hours to get there. And this venue had like 70 people. Like there was not a lot of people in there. And nobody knew their music, and I knew every single word. So I was there like completely going bananas. There was another guy in that venue, and he was like me, like starting the mosh pits and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And after the gig, Damon, one of the people in the band, came up to me, and instead of me going to him to talk, he came to me, and he was like, dude, you know every word. That was so cool. And I saw you, and it was so nice to have you. And blah, blah, blah. Like, instead of me saying you did a good gig, they came
Hmm.
to me and they told me that I did a good gig. So ever since we became very close friends, we talked for like 2 hours after that gig. So that was another nice one.
That's awesome. That's not, yeah, it's in Australia when it comes to like gigs and stuff. We're very like, it's crowd and band, and the band goes and everyone leaves. Like it's not really a mingling sort of situation, which I think is awesome. Like if that was the case, but I think it's more like everything's a little bit more strict. There's more rules and stuff when it comes to stuff like that in this country. I think it's probably because a lot of people who go to these gigs are intoxicated beyond belief, and that's just Australians in general. But like our culture is built on alcohol. Like there's no
Yes.
questions about it. Like, you know, for me, I've only just been able to kick alcohol now. Like it's taken me this long just to, you know, be able to say no to it. But when it comes to, you know, in our society and Australia in general, to not drink is like to insult someone. Like people are like, why aren't you drinking? Why aren't you drinking? It's always the
Oh, yeah.
question. It's like crazy, but I don't, you know, it's more about like, you know, I wish I had that opportunity. Like, unless you buy a VIP or something to something, you're not meeting that band. Like, you're getting escorted out, straight when the gig's done. And I think that's what I miss. Like, I've been to gigs in other countries, and it's not like that. You stick around till the end, and they come out the back, and you say hello, and you have a chat, and everything's fine. But unfortunately, in this country, that's just not the way it works.
Oh yeah, the amount of time that I had after parties and went to places with bands is insane. Like the last time I went to a gig has been October because the world stopped.
Yeah,
and it was in the UK, and I had a weekend planned. I travel a lot to go to gigs. Like first I went to Bear Pit to see Bear Pit, and then I had an after party with the guys at one of their places, and then 2 days after I went to see Caskets, and then I went on an after party with my mates at Matt, his Airbnb. So it's very normal. It's also, if you act normal, like to me, talking to someone in a band or not in a band, I don't give a fuck. I have so many band people in my friend list that I talk to on a regular basis. I do not care if someone's in a band.
yeah.
But I can imagine that it's that approach which makes it easier to become friends with those people, because there's a lot of crazy people out there. We experienced it a lot.
No one likes a fangirl.
I had to say, we had it once in my community that we had to ban someone that has been there since day one. And we got a couple of complaints come in. She started DMing bands all the time, like stalking them, like not just on Instagram, but like adding their Snapchat and stuff like that, and making accounts when they blocked her, and like
That's obsessive.
sending nudes to them and stuff like that. Like I had like 13 complaints come in all at once, and I was like, dude, it's
That's
insane.
a bit much.
Like,
shit.
holy shit! Like, it's a band. Leave them alone. Like, even I never text a band first. Like, if they DM me, I will reply, but I will never be the first one to DM them, or one of the band members on their personal socials. I will never DM them first, ever.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you got to remember they're people too, like, and they have families and friends and stuff, and like, they're doing being in a band. I mean, it is a job. Remember, like it's a workplace, like for them, and this is what they do for a living, and they do it because they love it. But I'm sure a lot of they call them rock stars. They used to call them rock stars, and that's that they were bigger than movie stars, and a lot of people still have that mentality when it comes to bands, which is great. Don't get me wrong, but yeah, there is always that problem that some people just have that obsessive compulsive sort of, I need to go and give this person a hug kind of situation. And it's just like, I think you should just enjoy their music and not ruin it for everyone else. 100% I get that. Yeah. Absolutely.
But I get it that it's different. Like, for one of my mods, Jeffrey, he never been in contact with any band people. So it's still like that big distance between being a person and being someone in a band and looking up to those people. And the first thing I told him, like, you can be in my chat, but there's no fangirling in my chat. Like, you have to be professional about it. Like, I will bring you in contact with with those people, but you have to be normal about it.
Yeah.
Like, you can't fangirl. Like, I told him, like, if we go to a gig from, like, Phineas, for example, I know he's a huge Phineas fan. Their drummer is a mate of mine, so I told him, like, I can make sure that you meet them, but you have to act normal or it's never happening again.
Yeah. Well, you got to protect them as well, although, it is what it is, I guess. I envy you because obviously you have the glory of being on a continent that is connected by land, because so you can see all these bands, whereas like we are in a very isolated place. Like we're at the bottom of the world on an island surrounded by ocean. Like there is no, unless the band's here or coming to see us, we have to go to see them. Like, and to come here to do a gig is so expensive for bands, production wise and cost wise. Like that's why we're either always the first stop on a tour or the last, so we don't get all the good stuff because not a lot of bands can afford to come here. Like,
yeah. And traveling is just a pain in the ass.
Oh
to
yeah, and it's even harder
Australia.
now. Like, I wanna travel to America at the end of the year, like, go and see all my friends and obviously catch a whole bunch of bands as well. But who knows what's around the corner for everyone in the world. Like,
Hmm.
I wish it was simple, but it doesn't seem to be that simple anymore, does it? You know, we all took it for advantage though, didn't we? Like when we could travel and go anywhere we wanted, it was not we didn't have to think about any of this stuff. Then all of a sudden,
Yeah,
it's such a massive ordeal.
yeah, it's insane. Like even here, if we want to travel to the UK, it's like in like 3 hours I can be in the UK, and it's such a pain. You need tests, you need this, you need that. It's
Yeah.
just such a pain in the ass.
There's so many different rules for everywhere now. Like Australia, we can't even leave the country, half of us. Like if we go, we
Yeah,
can't come back, you know? And it's quarantines and all this kind of stuff. Like it's wild. I mean, eventually it'll pass, but I mean, it's going to take some time, I guess. But how long does it have to take? It's been 2 years. Let's get on with
yeah.
it. Yeah.
I think a lot of it is money based as well. I've been to the UK and I needed to get tested on the second day I was there, and I didn't even get the results back of my tests before I already got home. So I had to pay like £80 or something to get a test
That
that
didn't
had no
make any
use
difference. Yeah.
because I went to a concert after and I only got like my test results when I got back and I didn't need to quarantine. So
Ridiculous. So what was the point?
yeah,
Because like, by the time you get back, it doesn't matter now, does it? Like
yeah,
it's,
exactly.
it's ridiculous. Wow. Yeah. How's the feeling over there in the moment anyway? Like you guys, obviously, with everything that's going on in Europe right now and all the craziness of that. How is everyone around you feeling, and how is all your friends and that over in different countries feeling?
Everything is back to normal here. The only thing that we have now is that with everything going on in Ukraine, is that prices are ridiculously high.
Yeah.
Everything already got super expensive with COVID. I have no idea why. I don't get why the pandemic all of a sudden makes sure that there's like no stuff anymore. Like they just found a reason. Like electricity and gas is insanely expensive. It's
Hmm.
not nobody can afford it anymore. And now with everything in Ukraine, it's not like there's no fear around here for a war because realistically it's not happening. Russia does not have the forces for it to invade entire Europe, so we are not really scared. It's just the fact that the economics are dog shit about it.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
that sucks.
Yeah, I get that. Like fuel prices here went to $2.30 a liter yesterday. And that's
Yeah.
that's what, like nearly $7 a gallon. Like that's
Yeah.
crazy.
We
Um,
are at $9 a gallon for diesel.
that's crazy. See, like we were already paying like $1.80,
Yeah.
before all this happened. And like this is the thing, the oil prices went up, but then they went down again. But the petrol
Hmm.
prices stayed high. So it's like,
Yeah.
who's really telling us what we're supposed to be told here? Like who's fucking us? Like, you know what I mean? It seems a
Yeah.
bit wild. It seems a bit wild to me, but it is what it is, I guess. What are we supposed to do about it? Like, there's
Not
nothing we can
much.
do as individuals to change the price of petrol. But don't buy a car. That's probably the only way to make it cheaper. Don't own a
Yeah,
car.
exactly.
Wh-
Exactly.
I think in Australia it's different because like everyone in Australia has a car because
Mhm.
you can't get anywhere in Australia without one. Like our infrastructure is terrible. Like when it comes to public transport. So I don't even have a train line near my house, and I live in the middle of Sydney. Like there
Oh
is,
shit.
yeah. So like I can't get a train unless I walk or catch a cab or whatever. Like at 45 minutes that way. Like this. So
Mhm.
everyone has to drive everywhere. Like so, if not having a car is like being handicapped.
Yeah, I have a car because public transport would lose me way too much time,
Hmm.
and I already have no time left. I even have to schedule when I'm going to sleep in order to get
I
sleep because I'm this busy. So if
get
I
that.
wouldn't have my car, it would be horrible.
Yeah, no, I understand that. I'm a insomniac of days. Like I just can't sleep most times. I've started this new routine where it is helping, where I write everything down like
Hmm.
before I go to bed because one of those people, I don't know whether you get this too, but when you're lying in bed and all you can think about is everything else but sleeping, you know?
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter how, like, you know how people used to say, don't look at screens before you go to bed and all this kind of stuff. It might help your brain and that. It doesn't make a difference. Like when you're thinking, you're thinking. And like, if you can't sleep, you can't sleep. Like, and I just have this book and I just write everything. It's like I'm trying to empty the hard drive of my mind like before I sleep.
Oh, do you know that meme where it's like a person waking up at 3 a.m. thinking, shit, where did I leave my birth certificate? I'm that kind of person.
Yeah.
I would do that.
So it's like, I wonder what the dollar is like today. Like, you know, like,
exactly.
The kind of stuff
then
that makes no sense.
Then I have to check like most irrelevant stuff, and then I have to check like, what the fuck? I need to know. I can't sleep before I know.
It's like the people that are like, did I lock my car? Like those people, and you like have to go outside and check and check its locks. Yeah,
exactly, all the time.
It's so good, but you know what? Like, I think it's one of those things. Like the people that don't do that, I feel like they just don't have many worries in their lives. You know, and they're not as busy. They just kind of have all this time all day to do that stuff already. So they're like, oh, I'm ready for bed now, you know? But whereas you and me, like, and I'll speak for myself, but I can tell that you're the same. We have so much stuff to do in a day. There's not enough hours in a day. We're not thinking about sleeping until we're tired. You know what I mean? So, and then you say you schedule it in. You basically like, we're not robots. We're not robots. We need to, you know, I wish we didn't have to sleep because I think it's a waste of time. But unfortunately, the body doesn't work unless it rests. So, you know, it's inconvenient.
Yeah.
100%.
Like I work like 50 to 60 hours a week at a full-time job. And then I have to do all my socials, all my stream work, prepping everything. Like there is no time for anything. I had concert tickets for next month to go to Eskimo Callboy, now Electric Callboy. And I even had to give away my tickets because I don't have time to go. All I can think of is like, shit, I still have to do this, that. I have to prep this. April is a huge month for my stream. I have a lot to do. And I was like, nah, I'm just giving away the tickets. I am going to do my stream work because otherwise I will be like at the gig thinking, shit, I could have done this and that for my stream.
Yeah. You'd have to pry those tickets out of my cold dead hands if I was able to go to that gig. That band is awesome. It's like
I gave them to my mod that is in chat.
To Jeffrey.
And his girlfriend. Yeah. Him and his girlfriend got my tickets.
Oh, that would be epic. I remember when I first heard like their music, it probably wasn't even that long ago. I think it was probably like a year or so ago. And I think it was when they brought out that first what was it?
Hyper.
Yeah, it must have been Hyper. Because I hadn't really heard of them before that. But that blew up the internet, that song. Like, that was just a ridiculous song.
It's a shame. It's a shame you didn't know them before. So the story about them is they used to be, now they are a meme band. You can say what you want, they are a meme band.
Yeah.
But they used to be completely different. Sushi was their previous one, now going by Ghost Kids. He has his own thing. And Nico, that is now the vocalist, he used to have a band called To the Rats and Wolves. And both bands were extremely good. Like, it was insane. And Eskimo Callboy was one of the best European bands, in my opinion. They are blowing up and are worldwide known, but their music is not as quality anymore as it used to be.
Okay.
They are now known to be a meme band, but they used to have really, really good music.
Yeah, I definitely got Steel Panther vibes a little bit when I started listening to them. I was like, this is kind of random. Like when I first listened to that Hyper song, I was like, okay, one of my friends sent it to me, I believe, and he was like, you have to listen to this song, and I don't want you to say anything until you finish listening to it and call me back. I was like, okay. He's like, and he's always giving me good songs. Like, he introduced me to Five Finger Death Punch, I remember originally, and I was like, oh, I really like this band, and you know, I remember introducing me to all sorts of stuff like that. And he was like, you just need to listen to this and let me know. So I turned it on and I listened to it, and I'm just like, my face was this the whole time. I was like, I like it, but I'm not sure why. Like, it's catchy and it's annoying, but at the same time it's metal. Like it's real metal, like fucking heavy. Like, and I was
Yeah.
like, I love that heavy sound. So I was like, I called him back and I was like, I don't know how I feel about it. And he's like, I knew that you would say that. We had a conversation about it. I was like, this is weird. So I followed them for a bit now, and every time they bring out a new song, it just seems like the same thing, but just rehashed a little bit. Like,
Yeah.
it's very like, you know how there's bands that always sound the same, like Disturbed, for instance. Like
Yeah.
every album's the same
Motorhead.
album. Like, yeah, Motorhead, it's just the same. Every song, everything they do is the same. As soon as they bring out something different, everyone raves about it, but they never do it again. So, like, you know, everybody was always like, oh, Sound of Silence, Sound of Silence. They always love that song, right? It's like, I'm not a big Disturbed fan as it is. And I didn't hate it, but it wasn't like my thing. But I could tell everyone was excited about it. I think it's just because it was something different, you know?
Yeah.
Because they have this sound and it's just the same sound over and over again. It's like people stopped buying their albums because they were like, it's the same shit, you know?
Yeah, I
Just-
think if Electric Cowboy, I still get used to the name. If they bring
Yeah.
out like a normal song, not a hype song,
Mm,
it wouldn't do as well. Like people wouldn't pick up on it that much.
yeah.
Which is a shame. I don't know. I think they are selling themselves short a little bit. It's not going to last.
Yeah.
The hype shit. I don't know. I don't think profiling as a meme band is
Gonna
that
get you
smart.
far. Yeah.
Because they are, yeah, all their commercial stuff, it's all memes. Like if
Mm.
you look at their videos and stuff, it's all memes.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I saw.
I don't know. I don't think it will last.
Well, that song was originally, wasn't it a children's song? The Hyper Hyper? I'm pretty sure it was
No.
originally wasn't it like a children's theme song or something? No?
Not that I know. I don't know. Not that I know of. It's
Hmm.
possible. I don't know, but
I think someone told me that and I was like, that sounds odd. But yeah, I'll have to look that up again.
yeah, I'll have to look. I have no idea.
Hmm.
I tried to get them on for an interview, but they didn't have time for it.
Okay.
So that sucked.
Yeah. So what was talking about interviews, like what was some of your favorite interviews to do? Like not just that excited to do, but like ones that surprised you a bit and you thought, wow, that was really enjoyable.
I only started doing the interviews in January, so I was offered to do them for a magazine called Vecteur. It's a French magazine, and they just asked me like, with your Twitch and all your things, like, would you like to do it? And I was like, sure. I always wanted to interview, and I think it's very cool to be able to do that. So I think the most interesting one so far has been Nick Nocturnal.
Oh yeah.
Because, to be very honest, I didn't know who he was. Like, I heard of the name, but I never really knew his personality, or I knew what he did, but I never really got into it. Like, I don't watch YouTube a lot. Like, I listen to music on YouTube, but I don't really watch, like, videos and podcasts or reaction videos or stuff like that. I don't really watch that kind of things.
Mm-hmm.
So the magazine asked me to interview him. Usually I pick my interviews myself, but they said like, yo, we did an interview for the magazine for like the paper version, but it would be interesting to have you do a live one. And he was the most down to earth, genuine person, and he was very easy to talk to. Like, I always have an hour to interview. Like, I count an hour because that's pretty long to do like a decent interview, I guess.
Yeah, yeah.
And I really had to rush like the last 10 minutes to get it into an hour because I could have talked to the dude for like 5 more hours. That's how interesting he was.
Yeah.
And it
Love
was
that.
nice because he on Twitch he does the same things as I do. Like he does the new release Fridays, and it was nice to hear that he is that big guy and I'm that small fish, but he has the same struggles as I do. Like
Yeah.
all the mails coming into the inbox, people constantly bugging you to get features, like assuming you will feature them and stuff like that. He had the same struggles like I do, and it was very nice to talk to him about it.
Yeah, well, you can relate on a personal basis, literally. Like you both go through the exact same thing every day. That's, I'm sure you had never found someone who did the same thing. So that's big. That's massive.
Yeah.
I mean, how long has he been on doing it? I mean, probably a long time, I would guess.
Yeah, he has been around since 2013 is the first time he posted on YouTube, if I remember correctly. But he used to do guitar covers only.
Okay.
So he used to be the guitar guy, and then as his channel grew, he started doing like reaction videos and stuff like that. And last year he started on Twitch.
Okay. I didn't even know he had a Twitch. I've seen a
Yeah.
few of his videos on YouTube, but just coming across on recommended and stuff, like mostly.
Yeah.
But I've never really dived into his catalog much. But yeah, that would have been an interesting one to have. That's awesome. I mean, it's funny how you meet doing this as well. Like I noticed, like before I started on Twitch or even discovered what Twitch was, I didn't know anyone on this platform, and obviously because I hadn't been here, but I didn't bring friends with me, like that kind of thing. Like I didn't really, it wasn't really a thing. Like most of my friends aren't gamers. They're sports related people or business people or whatever it might be. I try to get them on and do stuff, but it's like they're like, oh, I'm busy. I have kids. I understand. Like it's fine. But for me, it's like I've met some of the most amazing people like on this platform, and it's been like life changing a little bit because nowadays it's like social media is a fucking minefield. It's a minefield. Let's be honest. Like I don't read Twitter much. Like I see you on Twitter a lot. Like you post a lot of stuff on Twitter. I don't read Twitter much. I only really post stuff that I want to promote or I talk to my mates in DMs and stuff. But I don't really go through Twitter and scan Twitter as much as most. It's real full on. Like the toxicity is insane on that platform. I've never seen anything like it.
Yeah.
And Twitch can be a little bit the same sometimes. I mean, YouTube not so much because it's not there's not as many live channels, but I find that you've got to weed it out a little bit and find your place amongst the people that you want to surround yourself with. And I think for my channel, I can speak for. I think I've done that with that, and it's really enjoyable to do.
Yeah, I have a rule. Like, it took me a very long time to figure that out because I think my first 6 to 8 months on Twitch is when I discovered how toxic it actually was. But I have a rule on with my mods. They know that we do not do support for support kind of thing. Like I have a lot of Twitch streamers that I'm friends with, and we talk next to stream, and we like text each other or like each other's posts, and we support each other. But we do not expect anyone to be in our channel or watch our streams. And they don't expect me to watch their streams. We don't expect raids. We don't do anything. We're just friends, like, besides the streaming. And that's what I need. There are a lot of people that just become your friends because they hope to get your raid or to get your community or to get your support. And if that's the case, I just don't want to be your friend.
Yeah.
And I learned recently on a very hard way to keep a very far distance of the people in your chats, like to not get too close. We had a girl in my channel, and she was around for like 7 or 8 months, and she told people that she had cancer and had a brain tumor and people dying and stuff like that. And my alarm bell started wrinkling in the back of my head, and I started investigating. I went go gadgets, investigator, and I just started like reverse searching her pictures and stuff like that. Like the person was real, her appearance was real, but her age was a lie. Everything she told about her life was a lie. She wasn't sick. Nobody died. It was just all fake. So that's when I learned like I have to. Like, I can talk to people, they can be in my Discord, but I cannot personally involve myself in their lives because she dragged everyone into it. Like, my entire community messaged her every day. She did charity streams and stuff like that for the causes. And I was like, oh my god, I really cannot do this anymore. If I want to be on Twitch, if I want to be a streamer, I have to keep my distance and I have to, like, take care of myself and not get too involved with it.
Yeah, well, look, I always say, like, for myself, it's the perfect saying for this situation. It's like, you know, the well is full of water, right? And you drop a piece of poison in it, and the whole well is poisoned. But if you drop some water in the well, it just gets full. So it's kind of like you've got to really weed out those kind of people out of your communities, because they will drag everyone through the shit with them. And I've done the same sort of learning experience with that over the sort of the last 6 months. So I totally understand where you're coming from, and I can give you a million examples of that.
It's insane.
But especially the people who like will self-promo in the chat and stuff like that. And I get a lot of that kind of stuff. It's easy to get rid of, but it's very annoying. And like, you know, especially when you're trying to play, like for me, like I'm playing an FPS game at high pace. Like, you know, I don't have time to check or look. And by the time I look, it's already halfway up the page. I'm like, oh God, this again, you know? And you got to be a little bit more brutal when it comes to monitoring that kind of stuff.
I give people the opportunity to self-promo in my chat. Like, I don't mind if they do, but if I tell them, they can do it. Like, I tell people constantly, like, drop your socials, or tell me what you're about, or are you gaming, or like yesterday I had it as well. I had someone, they followed their very first chat in my chat was like, yo, I have the same name on Twitter, make sure you follow me there. I was like, dude, like, if you would have just been in my chat, said hi, and then like
pushed into Discord,
I would have asked, like, join the Discord, or if you are doing something. Like, I give people the chance to promote their stuff, or sometimes I'm like, okay, for the next 10 minutes, everybody, drop your best self-promotion in the chat and go follow each other. And then people just do it, and they like it, and they follow each other, and they connect, and they talk to each other. But coming in and self-promoting without anyone asking is just like, nope. Don't do it.
This is the thing that people do that don't understand, right? If you were to engage with the community in any way, even if it was for 10 minutes, 20 minutes, you went and followed a few other socials, you went and joined on a couple of other streams, that would be more beneficial to you than doing that thing that takes 5 seconds. Like, if you put in the effort for others, it takes very, very little to you know, create something. It's just, I think people are just very impatient and selfish, but it is what it is.
Also, if the streamer knows you, they usually ask about you anyway. Like, if I come into your stream, you will ask, like, oh, I've seen that you have an interview. What interview was it? Or something like that. Or when is it? Or like, the streamer will ask about it, and then you can like talk about it. But coming in like, yo, dude, I have this interview that day with that person. Like, don't do it. Don't do it. It's like
100%, 100%. The is that a nickname? Fox?
Fox, yeah. My channel, because most people can't say my name properly, they all call me Evywisse, but it's Evywisse. It's a Dutch name, but I never intended to stream on Twitch when I made that name, so I just use my personal name. Like, Evywisse is actually the name on my ID. So people start calling me Evie Fox or Fox, or and it just became like the red lining through my streams. Like, everything is now Fox. People just call me Fox. My emotes are foxes. My logo is a fox. It's just Evie Fox. That's the thing that it became. So
yeah, I mean, look, this is the thing. When you first start, you don't think of that kind of branding opportunity. Like, you don't think of like, oh, you know, my name has to be something in the future that I could morph into a brand. Like, you don't think of that. Most people's names are like 7,000 different letters and numbers all jumbled together and no one can spell it. Like, you know, it's like, how am I ever going to find you on anything? Like, probably never. But not everyone thinks ahead like that. So, I mean, that's just the thing. Like as soon as I said, when you came in, I was like, oh, hey, Evie. Because I don't know how to pronounce it. Like, you know.
It's a cool thing. Like, you see the deck in the back. Like, a person in my community made it. Wait, let me back. Like, a person in my community made it.
Oh, wow.
And Foxfest is some festival that I organize on my channel, and they made the fox. This is my logo, but with the beanie, because I always wear beanies on my channel, so it's pretty cool.
That's awesome. Are you a skater?
No.
No.
I don't, but it's really cool. It's really nice. I can skate a little bit, but I'm not like a real skater. But it fits with like my branding and my channel style and everything, so
Oh yeah, 100%. When you're younger, maybe the scene, everyone always skates, and it's a bit of part of everything. But I remember those days. I couldn't skate for shit. I still tried, but I was terrible. That's a really cool thing to have though. Like, have you just done merch and stuff with that, and have you got the logos and
No.
stuff?
I do have the logo, so the fog that you saw, but without the beanie is my logo. I don't do merch right now, not for my own channel, because it's too much work, and I assume nobody is going to buy it anyway. But
You'd be surprised.
me and my friend Johnny, we are starting a podcast starting next week. Johnny is JMR Music Reviews. He has a similar channel like I do, and we have a huge reach within the metal scene.
Okay.
So we decided to combine forces and do a podcast once a month where we go like over metal music and new releases, new albums, stuff like that. And my mod Jeffrey, he made a bunch of artwork and a logo for it. And we are going to do merch with that. I have a sponsor, Nothing Dies, and they are going to work with us to create a line with just all of our stuff that we want. Like, I want hardcore shorts, I want a hoodie, I want t-shirts, and they are just going to incorporate our artwork into their designs.
Perfect. That sounds like it's going to take off. I reckon it would. I mean, just from looking at that logo there, that's something I could put on a t-shirt and wear, 100%. Because it's got all the intricacies of a good logo, but it's also very like iconic too. Like, you don't see that kind of thing just lying around. So
yeah, the other logos are even more fitting for like shirt designs. Like, I told Jeffrey, like, create something. It's called The Messiah and the Fox. So I said, that's the title of the podcast. Create something and think it has to fit on merch. And he just made a bunch of stuff that is freaking epic for merch. So
that's awesome. All right. Well, look, if you could do me a favor, and whenever you decide to drop that podcast, can you post it in my Discord as well, so I can come get everyone over? That'd be so good.
Yeah.
And
it starts next Sunday. I think
it
will be like I think it will be at like 5 or 6 in the morning for you. But it will be on YouTube, it will be on Spotify, so you will be able to like rewatch it after if you want.
Yeah. No, that's great. I mean, most of my viewers are in the UK, or like east coast of the US mostly. So like, it's all sorts of weird time zones in this day and age. So I mean, if I'm not there for it, I'm sure a lot of people will come in and watch it, and I'll definitely watch it on VOD for sure.
Oh, nice.
We'd love to do that.
That's very.
I thank you for coming on and hanging out and getting, showing everyone what you're all about. And I'm gonna I'll promo this on my Twitch channels and stuff as well, and make sure everyone gives it a watch and learns a bit more about you. Maybe you get a few extra people come over and enjoy your content. And that
would be nice.
Yeah, it was a pleasure. It was a pleasure.
Yeah,
really,
pleasure was mine.
I really enjoyed talking to you. Like, I mean, we've been needing to do this for a little bit, and it's good to talk to a fellow metalhead about music, because I don't get that opportunity very often, because there's not a lot of I don't have a lot of friends who are metalheads, so it really was a pleasure.
If I can talk about metal and streaming, I'm always game. I love that.
100%. Thank you for being on. I appreciate you.
Yeah.
I'll see you next time.
Bye.
See ya.